Okay, everybody, it's a terrific Tuesday, and we're going to make it tantalizing for you. I'm just trying to think of how many more T words I can think of.
I love it. Hey, John, really quick, before we move on, your mic is up against your shirt and it's scratching. So can you move it really quick before you get to the next story?
Look at Amy.
Oh,
Pay attention.
Let's get a ding for Amy from our director, who's probably like, yeah, I was trying to tell him. Okay. Hopefully that
Much
works
better.
now. If not, I'm taking
There we
both
go.
these shirts off and I'm just going to hold it in front of my naked body. What?
Yes. Turn up Tuesday.
Ding, ding, ding.
We are turned up. Hey, about a half hour ago, we got an update from Mayor Lightfoot and Dr. Jackson from the CPS about what's going on there, and they're still at a stalemate right now. Both sides continue to talk through it. They say they have a small amount of remaining issues, and they're going to keep on talking throughout the evening. But Mayor Lightfoot said earlier today that the issues between CTU and CPS are deeply rooted.
So look, this is a very difficult situation, and we're in it still because of the incompetence of the previous administration. So I think it's important for both sides to come to the table in good faith, recognize that we're both trying to work through a very challenging situation, but we must get a deal done.
Sticking points are vaccines and what to do with teachers that have health concerns. She said that CPS has made a lot of accommodations for teachers that, for whatever reason, themselves, members of their family, but the union says they haven't made enough accommodations. So a couple sticking points left.
Yeah, you know what I would really, really like to see, because I always get and I caught up in this a little bit too, is like we've got several school districts who have been back to full in-person learning for many, many months. We've got others like my son's who's going back on Monday. CTU is not even partially back. We've at least been hybrid. So what are each of the school districts doing that are okay for some teachers, but not for all the teachers? Like, can't there just be a uniform, plan that goes out there for all of them so that we can get the kids back in class?
I think a lot of parents are thinking exactly what you're thinking. And I'm growing tired because all I keep hearing is saying, come to the table, negotiate in good faith. I certainly believe that both sides are doing that. But to your point, Amy, there has to be some form of middle ground. I'm wondering what if we can get 30% of the pre-K to fifth grade, pre-K to eighth grade teachers that were supposed to be going back? Yep. What if we can get 30% of them vaccinated and then just start off with that, or start off with those teachers who are ready to return and vaccinated in the specific neighborhoods that need it most. Right now, it just seems like we're not moving in any sort of direction. And what the teachers are asking for, I think that's more than reasonable. So do we need more money in terms of to get more vaccines, or to get these schools cleaner? Like, what do we need? I feel like we need more detail in terms of how this negotiation process is going and what they're specifically talking about.
Well, and is there a way to... Sorry, John. Sorry, I get all.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, I think that the problem is that the district is too big, right? Like, like we were talking about this before. Like the North Side School, West Side School, South Side School, every school area has their own issues and own problems. And now that this is it's not a strike yet, could be looming potentially. You're going to be looking at 3 and 4, 5, 6 years. Every contract we're going through this, and it's because I think the district is too big. I think it might be time to discuss blowing this sucker up so we can have individual negotiations with schools that need individual care and talks. Like they're so disparate in what is happening that I think that when you're trying to negotiate something for 400,000 students, it becomes such an issue.
Yeah, there's no white and black answer. There's a gray scale amongst the entire school district that everyone has different needs. I think that's a great idea, John.
Blow it up.
We actually agreed on something. Whoa. Probably not the welcome home she likely envisioned, but WNBA superstar Candace Parker is now officially a member of the Chicago Sky. Top of the mind, staying healthy, and bringing a championship to the city.
I just want a fair shot at this. I want to be healthy, and I'm going to do everything in my power to come in the best condition that I can. And then I think as long as, every coach says when they're on a great team or when they have great pieces, you just want to stay healthy. And that's what I want most for anything, is to have a great shot at it. Because I feel like if we have a fair shot of it, or a fair shot at it, our chances are great. And so I would say, just in terms of just staying healthy, staying diligent about that. But then also, I'm excited to be able to use my knowledge for the game, IQ. I think it's a perfect storm in terms of just the way that we kind of see the game. And Coach Wade, I think you always have to have a great relationship with your point guard. And Sloop, I've been an admirer of her for a very long time. And then you know how it is with the WNBA, you got to have shooters.
Parker is now 34 years old. The Naperville native spent 13 years with the LA Spark and is a two-time MVP. News of her return is inspiring a lot of young female basketball players in Chicago.
Her energy on the court, the way she responds to her teammates, to the coaches, to her opponents, that really inspired me. I just want to see her attitude and the way she brings it on the court, her competitiveness. I look up highlights of her, and then if I see her do a move, then in my mind I'm oh, I want to do that too. So I practice it.
Yeah, so great to have her
It's
home.
so cool. And she's inspiring so many of us. I just remember hearing about her when I was in high school. Obviously, my basketball career didn't last long at all, not even noteworthy. But it was just so cool because everybody, the nation was just buzzing about this young Black woman that was just doing amazing things in the sport. The excitement surrounding her should be the same. It is similar, but it should be the same as Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. Chicago loves Chicago. I'm really happy that the mayor gave her a proper welcome. She certainly deserves that. But this is big for the city.
Yeah, it's big for the Sky. They have been not a destination for big free agent signings. They've lost a lot of players over the years, and to become a destination place could be huge for the team. I know Coach Wade is certainly excited about it, but it really does beg the question, and I think I'm part of the problem here. This would be like the equivalent of LeBron James coming to Chicago. Similar age, similar stature in the leagues. But this isn't the lead story on every single broadcast tonight, every single talking point. I think a lot of people are talking about it, and it's good. And we often wonder why. Where is the disparity? I think it's for sports fans like me. I am all about, equality in sports. I think my prerequisites are good on that. But I admit, I haven't gone to a Sky game. I haven't watched full games, and I think that maybe this move could at least help Chicagoans enter the fold, but this still continues to raise the disparities amongst pay between women and men in sports and so many other issues about why this isn't getting the hay that it deserves.
Well, listen, and I get it too, and I will say, it's not even leading all the sports segments of the newscast, let alone a newscast, just the top sports story. And I get it. Listen, they don't bring in the money in the viewership and the audience that some of the men's sports do. And that's the problem. And that's a problem on us as fans, too, to start supporting more so that these athletes get what they deserve, really. She should be making a whole heck of a lot more than she's being paid at her level.
Oh, yeah. It's up to the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just her reported salary is about $385,000 for the 2 years. I think that's for both years of the contract combined. LeBron James per game makes $487,000. Right. But I mean, I get it. He's a superstar, but so is she. I know it's really hard. And I think it's going to take commitment from people that are sports fans, but maybe consider themselves more casual WNBA fans or something. You got to kind of make an effort. And then once you buy into it, I think that it's like a little chicken to the egg. What happens first? Yeah. Does it excite you enough to get in, or do you have to buy in a little bit? I think it's a little both.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. I know a lot of people want to be going to the games, not only WNBA games, but everything else. But we just had an update from the Department of Public Health lead director, Dr. Arwardi. We hear from her a lot with these press conferences. Someone asked her about sports today, and she says that's still a conversation that is months and months away. Obviously, the Bulls and Blackhawks playing right now at Empty United Center. But a lot of people hopeful with the Cubs and Sox coming back. It's outdoors. But it looks like we are still months away from baseball, but doesn't look like any green lights in the near future for that.
Just yet, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, an adorable rescue dog is repping Chicago at this year's Puppy Bowl. So meet Foofer, everybody. She's a 4-month-old shepherd mix currently being fostered through Paw Chicago. And not only is she playing in the game, she's also getting a special segment showing off her life with her foster family. You should know that Foofer was rescued from a house fire that ended up scarring her belly. She's overcome a lot. She's also survived parvovirus, which we know can be very very deadly to puppies. But just look at that cute little face.
Oh, look at that face. Oh, and a new puppy smell. Oh, I love
John,
Puppy Bowl.
come
I can
on.
only watch it
Even
for
you
like,
like puppies.
come on.
Yes,
And
yes, cool.
the Puppy Bowl, I can watch for like, I'll turn on for a minute because they're so cute, and then it's boring because they're just running around doing the same stupid things a puppy would do. But like,
Yeah.
it's so cute. Like, oh God, look how cute they
It's a baby dog. It's
are.
just that baby dog.
Yeah, I would prefer, let's not have a puppy bowl. Let's have a toddler bowl. Let's get 2 to 3 year olds in there screaming,
Yes.
crying, ripping each other's hair out. That I
Oh.
would watch. That is some high drama.
My
That's true.
toddler, they are aggressive. They like to push. They like to run. It would be very
Right.
close to regular football.
Right, yeah. All
Got
right.
rules.
Hey, speaking of LeBron James, not only did he make nearly $500,000 last night in this game, but when you combine him and an angry F-bomb dropping fan and Twitter, you got a lot of drama. If you're confused, Brandon Pope will break it down. The courtside Karen drama at 6:30. We'll be right back.
Boy, if there's one word we didn't know existed before the pandemic, but we're certainly aware of it now, it's telehealth. I mean, it has blown up. And that doesn't exist only in the world of physical health, mental health as well. Really important to talk it out with anyone you can, especially as we continue to slog on through these winter months. And here to chat about that is Dr. Desiree Dudley. What are parents, kids dealing with right now?
A lot of parents that I see on Teledoc's virtual care are very stressed. They're overwhelmed, they're burned out, and they're kind of really over this pandemic and having to live life very differently than they're used to. At the same time, it's not over yet. So I see a lot of stress, in particular for moms trying to work from home, help kids who are remote learning for school at home, and just trying to juggle it all, and also take care of their family's health because their families have contracted COVID. I've seen a lot of moms where that's been the case, but also trying to figure out how they keep their own sanity and how they stay safe and deal with their own anxiety.
For someone that hasn't done telehealth yet or teledoc or any conversations, what's it like? What can people expect? Why should they be comfortable with doing that?
So a lot of moms that I see are really looking to ease their anxieties and in a safe and convenient way. And Teledoc's virtual care is a great way to do that for a number of reasons. So moms that I see using virtual care with Teledoc, not only can they see a medical provider, but they have access to a wide variety of services. So they can access a dermatology, a nutritionist, a pediatrician for their younger children, as well as a medical doctor for any medical physical needs that them or their families have. And I found a lot of moms talk about this being exactly one of the things they need right now, just to ease their worries. It's safe, it's convenient, they have 24/7 access, and it really helps cut down on their worries about getting sick, having to leave their home, or wondering if a common cold symptom might be the sign of something else.
Yeah, I've gone through about 10 different iterations thinking I had this because of a scratchy throat or something, and that just leads to 4 or 5 days of stress until the next time it comes around. I guess one silver lining, perhaps, out of all this, I don't know if you agree, is that we're talking about self-care a lot more now. Access to self-care through Teledoc is a lot more available now. Is that something that you see transferring even once we get out of this as maybe a benefit that we're finally having these conversations?
It really is a way of taking care of yourself. The people who I treat through Teledoc, we're talking about ways to just structure your daily routine, especially in this time of COVID-19. Things look very different. Moms have to give themselves more flexibility, change their expectations. They can't do everything. They shouldn't drop everything during their workday, for example, to check kids' homework. They can do that after the school day has ended. So it's really been a way for people to learn how to deal with stress, but change their way of living in order to accommodate what's happening with us right now with this pandemic.
I see how people like talking to you. You're such a calming presence. Can we stay on an extra 10 minutes and do a little teledoc session right here?
I'm happy to do so.
All right, good. Stay on the line. We're going to do our private session after this, but let's get the information up now for Teledoc and where you can find out all that they do, how to access it, and why you should.
All right, thanks, John. Well, the pandemic has also put a strain on thousands of families, and they really, really, really need our help.
That's exactly right. CW26, The U, MeTV FM, and Beam Legal are partnering with the Greater Chicago Food Depository to raise $15,000 worth of meals, and it's for those in need across Cook County.
It's super easy to help. Just text CW26 to 41444 or go to CW26chicago.com and make a donation to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Right now, we're at $10,751, which is awesome, but we need your help. Donate today and help get us to $15,000.
How are you guys? You know I've done a lot of really fun things on this show, like this moment.
I love what we did on John today. Here, we got to fix your fringe here.
It's not fitting. It's okay. We didn't try this earlier.
All right, that was from the 2019 America Beauty Show at McCormick Place. And I came off the stage in that segment and I chatted with the PR person who sets up the whole thing. And she started giving me like this modeling advice, like how to walk down a runway, how to really flip your hair back. Her name was Dory Wilson, and she was a legend in the PR community in Chicago, and she passed away yesterday. She was enthusiastic, she was kind, she was talented, and she was also a legendary model from back in the day, which is why she had those tips for me. She was the first black runway model in Chicago at Marshall Field's, also at Carson's, just a groundbreaking black entrepreneur when she set up her PR business. She'll certainly be missed in Chicago by a lot of us here in the business and beyond. And as for trailblazing, well, she never saw it that way.
When I opened my own business, it was judged by my color, but again, I didn't let it stop me. I just kept at it. I never set out to break barriers. I just set out to do what I had to do.
Well, as part of phase 4 reopening in Chicago, museums are back and there are a lot of fun exhibits that you should be checking out. We've got Kati Murphy from the Art Institute here with a bit of a preview. Kati, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get to all the museums that are opening, but let's talk about the Art Institute first. What can we expect?
So we are opening on February 11th. We are open always to members, but if you are not a member, we ask that you buy your tickets in advance. Our Monet exhibition has been extended to June, and our Bisa Butler Portraits exhibition will continue to be open as well. It's really an awesome time to visit a museum with the lower capacity. We've got 25% capacity when we open, and we don't have our tourists coming in, so the museums are just for Chicago right now. It's pretty cool that Monet in Chicago is happening right now. The last time we had a Monet exhibition, there were people from all over the world in lines down the block. And now we have this exhibition that really speaks to Chicago's relationship with Monet. And it's really just for the people from Chicago. It's for our community, and they get to experience that without the crowds that they would normally expect.
Yeah, Monet is always a big deal. And so let's talk about how it's working with scheduling. So you need to make a reservation before you go to most of these museums, correct?
Yes. And the tickets are on everybody's website, so they're very easy to purchase.
So you want to make sure that you're checking the specific museum's website that you're going to. Okay, so it's Black History Month. We know that DuSable is not open right now. They're working to come up with a reopening plan. Is that correct?
Yes, and hopefully they'll be able to open soon. But tomorrow, the Illinois Holocaust Museum is actually opening, and for people looking for experiences to have right now that speak to Black history, the Mandela Struggle for Freedom exhibition will be opening February 20th and is a great opportunity for people to explore what Nelson Mandela went through.
And wonderful
free on Wednesdays.
Oh, certainly.
And they're free on Wednesdays.
Okay, and yes, and then new exhibits that we can expect at the Field Museum as well as the Shed. Can you tell us about those?
Oh, yes. The Field Museum has the Apsalaga Women and Warriors, which explores the Plains people who lived in the Great Plains. A lot of people know them as the Crow, and it's a beautiful exhibition. And the Shed has, they've reopened their doors, but they don't have special exhibitions with the high touch stuff. They're still making sure that they're keeping people safe. But you can Zoom with their virtual sea otter experience and have a personal experience with their otters.
Yes, I love the shed. I was going to say, you paused when you said what they have. I was going to say they have penguins. We've seen that penguin all over Chicago. They're
Oh my
always
gosh,
posting about their penguins
love
on social media.
I love Wellington so much.
Yes, and I'm sad to say I have never seen Sue, so that's at the top of my list. I got to go see her in person. I just haven't. I've never gotten to a chance to see her since we've been in the pandemic. That's something that I regret, and I'm gonna go see her. I'll be first in line. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and have a great night.
You guys, check out choosechicago.com for all the details. All the details. Get inside a museum, take your kids, set up a little date. Make sure you go on these websites and make reservations as well. John?
I'll make this quick. Snow and then plummeting temperatures. Don't even look. This weather report brought to you by United Auto Insurance. Call or click today and we'll be back. I mean, 5 to 7 more inches of snow. Mother Nature, you have got to stop this. I am telling you. And then, what, you're going to be at minus 5 degrees on Friday? Nah, I'm hanging up on Mother Nature.
Don't you ever sometimes get embarrassed for him?
Hey, everybody. You are watching The Jam. Felicia Lawrence, John Hanson, and Amy Rutledge here. And John, it sounds like you're getting all settled in.
Well, you know who I'm mad at, really, when I think about it? It is everyone who on January 21st said, oh, it's been such an easy winter so far. Yeah, it's only a month in. Like, it goes till March 21st, okay?
Yep.
Y'all tempted fate. Y'all got the demons or the gods or whoever all upset, and this is what they're doing to us. 5 to 7 inches on Thursday and then temperatures below zero for 4 days?
It happens every year, though, I feel like, right? We do this every year to ourselves.
I didn't even know it was wintertime because I've been in the house since June.
Oh, good point.
That's
Air
fair.
conditioning,
That's news
heating,
to me.
all feel the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should change, open the windows a little bit, Felicia.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea because you should sleep when it's a little bit cooler in your room.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about sleep because overworking, overthinking, working overnight, being stressed out, all things that seriously mess with our sleep. Well, Dr. Venkata Buddharaju, aka Dr. Buddha, is the director of sleep disorders at Thoric Memorial Hospital and the author of Better Sleep, Better Life. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So tell me, first of all, what is the one probably major underlying factor that you see that's affecting sleep? Because I know there's many factors, but what's the biggest?
I think the biggest is lack of physical activity and maintaining the regular bedtime and raise time. And the third big thing is the stress. You can't take away stress from the life, from anyone, but we have to learn how to cope with stress. So those are the three big things in my opinion. If you handle those, you can sleep better.
Okay, so it's time for bed, and I've had a stressful day. How do I get myself ready to fall asleep and stay asleep? That's hard too.
Yes. So you need to develop some kind of mind relaxation techniques, winding down the mind, I call that. So you could do a few things. One is you can do a mindful breathing exercises like focused breathing. And you may not have time to sit down for 10 minutes of meditation, but you can do focused breathing. Just count number 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, and focus on the breathing in and out. That calms down your nerves big time because breathing is very helpful. The second is listen to a lot of music because lately music has shown to increase the dopamine level in the brain, which is a kind of happy hormone. So you can create your own song playlist of favorite songs, so you can listen to those songs.
Doctor, tell us about, I don't think enough people understand that if you don't get proper sleep or good sleep, it really can damage your health.
Yes. So the way it is, basically, you have to maintain regular bedtime and raise time, and also sleep at least 7 hours as an adult. And if you're a teenager, maybe an extra hour, like 8 hours. If you don't, what happens is you feel really bad next day morning. You get very irritable, depressed, anxious, and also in long term, it affects your blood pressure, diabetes, and heart attack, stroke. And also lately, the immune system is also very high risk of decreasing the immune function, and you are at increased risk of getting infections. So all those side effects you have of not getting adequate sleep and also not keeping a regular sleep schedule. So that's why it's very important to focus on those.
And this is an area that I am super been focused on recently because I was not getting good sleep. And I think that people, and you correct me, people who are not getting good sleep really need to analyze what may be causing that, because it may not just be, oh, I had caffeine. Maybe there might be some mental health issues that you need to address.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just, I think we all get into the bad habits over time. So we need to learn to break those bad habits and focus on natural way of getting to sleep. Because in the recent pandemic, the study just came in January, most of the people are having stress, loss of job, and they're taking more sleeping pills. But the problem with the sleeping pills is you have a lot of side effects. You can get addicted to sleeping pills quickly. Whereas natural methods, as I said, physical activity, If you don't have time to go to gym, as soon as you get out of the bed, what I do 50 to 100 push-ups. So
Ooh,
you're done in 10 minutes
impressive.
physical activity. So as soon as you get out of the bed, go and do a 50 push-ups and you're done with the activity. And then a diet. And there are sleep promoting diet like cherries, kiwi fruit, which is an excellent source of serotonin, which helps sleep. So you can think about sleep promoting foods and don't skip the breakfast, eat a good lunch. Always eat a light dinner, at least 3 hours before bedtime. Don't eat any late night meals or heavy, high fat content foods because that's going to prevent you getting to sleep. So these are little tricks you need to know.
I love it. It's great. And yeah, more people need to get moving and more people need to be aware of their circadian rhythm and when they get up, they need sunshine. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate this.
You're welcome.
You can find more tips in Dr. Buddha's book, Better Sleep, Better Life, available on Amazon, Audible, and other online stores. You can also follow him on his website and social media right there on your screen. John.
All right, well, you expect some personal drama when you're watching an episode of The Real Housewives or scrolling through Brandon's text messages with some of his female friends. But at an NBA game, you don't expect it so much. So, BP, you're here to break down what happened with the Lakers and the Hawks, because honestly, I have no idea. I can't catch up. Walk me through it, bud.
Yeah, I mean, the battle wasn't really between the Lakers and the Hawks. The Lakers were beating the Hawks, and it was in Atlanta, and a fan was very upset. He was obviously a rich fan who had a courtside seat. And so he exchanged some words with LeBron, supposedly calling him the B word. And LeBron chirped back at him, as LeBron tends to do and players do when you sit courtside. But what really stirred things up, this courtside Karen, the, I guess, girlfriend, wife of this really old guy that's rich, decided she was going to interject, point fingers, get upset, make a scene. LeBron chirped back at her. They had to stop the entire game because of this disruption. She pulled down her mask and everything. They stopped the entire game. Security came, threw her hubby, and the two guests out of the arena. So LeBron, he tweeted about this after. He said, courtside Karen was mad. Courtside Karen. You got to love that nickname. Now, this courtside Karen, her name is Juliana Carlos. She gave her side of the story on Instagram.
All of a sudden, LeBron says something to my husband. And I see this and I stand up and go, don't talk to my husband. And he looks at me and he goes, sit the down. And I go, don't call me a you sit the out of here. And I go, don't talk to my husband like that. Don't talk to my husband. And he literally was like, sit down. And all of a sudden, now I'm getting kicked out. Excuse me, I have courtside seats that I pay for.
The best part is that there's audio that came out since where none of that was said at all. This was a funny tweet. LeBron James got a white woman escorted off the premises, and now he's got an entire social media platform laughing at her. A great start to Black History Month. LeBron James. Savannah James. Everybody wondered, how would Savannah James respond to all this? I'm sure she was at home a little upset about this. She don't play about her boy. And that's a great visual right there. People thinking courtside Karen reminds them of that meme, you know? She was pointing. She was very upset. He's not my dad. LeBron said in the interview that he thought he was old enough to be her dad. NBA 2K21, the courtside Karen edition. Can't wait for that to drop. The streets are hot and ready for that. The biggest surprise for me about all this is that we're doing courtside seats in a pandemic. That seems like a really bad idea to have people that close to begin with.
Shocking thing to you?
Let me just start off by saying, and that was her husband, but it's just all embarrassing. Girl, you didn't do anything but embarrass yourself. Clearly she wants attention. Clearly she got a lot of attention. I mean, but it's just so far, I feel like she just went on there and embarrassed herself altogether. I mean, and then the line where she said she was going to F-bomb LeBron up. Girl, you are all of 20 pounds. What?
First of all, let's just make this a general rule of thumb. If you have to put that many filters on your social media video chat, there is something wrong, okay? I'm not believing anybody who does not put the truth out there. Truth being yourself. Put your real self out there. Even if I don't care what you've done to yourself, Put it all out there. Not with all the
Man.
pretty sparkly filters.
All I gotta say, white women screaming, nature is healing. Getting back to normal.
Now, here's the thing. She has reversed course. All that anger looks like she's taken it back now and is apologizing. She actually released this apology about last night to say things escalated quickly. It's an understatement. She says that what should have been a quick back and forth between two adults got out of hand. Her instinct was to stand up for her man. She got defensive, blah, blah, blah. Taking the higher road, she did not. And she takes full responsibility for that. Here's what I think happened, okay? I think they threatened them to take away their tickets. Not just because of the outburst, but because they put their mask down to yell, which is against all
you're right,
code. Right?
That's why they were put out.
Yeah, if you give LeBron James coronavirus, that's terrible.
I can't wait for the first fight in the bleachers again at Wrigley. Like, it needs to come back. Fans and players yelling at each other. I love it. Love it.
I'll take
We just don't want it to get to Malice at the Palace levels. You guys remember that?
No,
Pacers, Pistons. We don't need that.
No. Oh, good Lord. I could go on forever. This is what's wrong with America right now.
Yeah, you could go on forever, but we won't, girl, because coming up, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is putting trauma in the spotlight. We're going to explain why you should be listening. Coming up in news you need to know. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez used Instagram Live to share how the Capitol attacks brought her back to other trauma that she's experienced in her life. Take a look.
The reason I say this and the reason I'm getting emotional in this moment is because these folks who tell us to move on, that it's not a big deal, that we should forget what's happened, or even telling us to apologize, these are the same tactics of abusers. And I'm a survivor of sexual assault. And I haven't told many people that in my life.
So Huge revelation there. I really appreciate her transparency and vulnerability. Maybe that's where she gets some of her fight, or a lot of her fight, and the spice that she brings to passion that she brings to the work that she does. But yeah, we're talking about healing, and people are saying move on, where the first step in that is justice and accountability. And we're still bringing those people to justice and holding the folks accountable that were responsible for what happened on the Capitol insurrection day. So yeah, you can't move on. And as she just mentioned, how it was triggering for other parts of her life.
Well, what I really appreciate about this is it's trauma, and it is trauma to probably 90% of the people that were in that building that day. And most people are like, well, you were fine, you were safe, but your brain doesn't know that. So when you're experiencing that moment is terrifying. It is a trauma on a human being. Trauma does so much damage to yourself and your family and the people behind you that I don't think people understand that that's hard to reverse. So they cannot just be like, yeah, move on. That's not how the brain works. Brain does not move on that fast.
Yeah, right. Like, we are such incredible biological machines. Our brains are, our neurological pathways blocked when you experience moments of trauma. They try and protect your physical body, but they reap havoc on what happens to your brain later. I mean, this has been studied extensively with soldiers with PTSD, first responders.
Good point.
And look, what we saw on television at the Capitol riot shook me. Like, I mean, I was shaking watching it.
That was
and
video.
we experienced what, 1/1000th of what was actually happening. Her cowering away in a bathroom when she heard someone come into her congressional office asking, where is she? Her thinking that that was going to be the moment she died. Thank goodness I've never experienced anything like that. And the fact that then they have to go back to work later that evening, and they did for the greater of the country, both Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
A scary thing. It goes exactly to your point, Felicia, that when we say, well, a lot of these people were just kind of following the herd. Yes, there should be justice and there should be stratified layers of who did what. But this is not something to just toss aside. This was a battle, okay? And these were soldiers in that battle. And this has to be treated similarly to how we help our soldiers when they return from battle overseas.
Truth.
I agree 100%. What I always strikes me is, having, in my career, been on a couple of things that happened while I was there. And being there in the moment of anything, be it a fire, a shooting, anything, what you see and what you read are very different than what the actual reality is. And AOC's talking about this major trauma in her life that she just had to hook another level onto that was separate but similar trauma. Again, this stuff you don't get over quickly. This requires it requires help. And so for them to be like, get over it quickly is just ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. So our body's protecting us is what it does, but it really does some harmful things. Okay, to lighten things up a little bit, I can't believe we're still doing this. We're pulling a poor animal out of his log home, and we're asking it to be a projector of weather.
A barometer,
I can't believe,
if you will.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
It's a weather term.
I can't, I don't side with PETA on anything, but they better come to the defense of these groundhogs. Because number one, we now have many groundhogs. Can we not just have one groundhog? We got Punxsutawney Phil. He should be the national groundhog. If we're going to do it, just pick one, okay? And he says that we are going to...
He wasn't the one chosen.
I'm just saying.
You want to do it.
We're going to... Punxsutawney says we're going to have a long winter. Then out in Woodstock, the very fine people in our northwest suburbs where Groundhog Day was filmed, they got another one. He says it's going to be a short winter. That makes no sense based on what we're seeing. And let me show you why. Because here's what we got coming up in the weather forecast.
He saw his shadow today, by the way, which meant we get 6 more weeks of winter. So let's make sure everyone knows that.
I don't even know what anything means
I don't want to know
the
that.
Weather report, tomorrow looks fine, and then the bottom falls out. United Auto Insurance, call or click today. Point is, they each said different things. That's all I was saying. They got to come together.
Oh. Okay, well, the official, apparently, Punxsutawney film saw his shadow, and that means 6 more weeks of winter for all of us. So you all know.
Okay. Thanks, Amy.
Okay, it is time for our Black History moment.
There it is.
I'm waving the flag, you guys. In celebration of Black History Month, we're sharing stories of people who've made a strong impact in our country and around the world. Oh, this is one of my faves, you guys. In 1968, Shirley Chisholm became the first African American woman in Congress. 4 years later, she'd seek the highest office in the land, becoming the first woman and African American to run for president of these great United States. Shirley Chisholm served in Congress for 7 terms, fighting for gender and racial equality. Today, we honor Shirley Chisholm. Our celebration of Black History Month is brought to you by Beam Legal and Foreman Mills. We'll be right back.
All right, Chicago Food to Go. You know it, you love it. It airs on Sunday mornings on CW26. We highlight local restaurants, and guess what? We're doing something really special. Top Choice Awards. There's nothing more fun than picking your favorites and voting for them. So put up or shut up here, and we're highlighting 7 different categories. And tonight is Best Pub and Casual Restaurant. And the nominees are, drum roll, we got Rambler Kitchen and Tap. The name says it best. The owners rambled from place to place, and they decided to feature different sandwiches from across the country. It's very yummy. Then there's Faya, inspired by Israeli street food, which is awesome. And Chief's Pub in Lake Forest, which is owned by a firefighter and his wife. These are all great places. I know we have been talking all week about everything that we love. We love Italian. We love Mexican. There's nothing like a good pub.
Yep.
Sit down, casual
burger.
food. My goodness. America.
I've been to 2 of the 3 of those places, so I really struggled on voting on this one. They're good.
Yeah, I'm going to Chief's Pub. I'm going to Chief's Pub. Who doesn't like firefighters? Said no one ever. Okay.
And the decor has chief firefighter and city stuff in it, so it's really cute. Hence, it's
really
cool.
cute.
Rambler's cool too, because I love the inspiration where they came from in different places. And then Faya is up in Andersonville, which is kind of near me. But their owners visited their daughter in Israel, and that was their inspiration for a lot of the dishes which they made. Which I always love hearing the backstory of how someone was, where they came for their, where they went on their culinary journey, I should say.
I also feel like you should be like Faya, like you got to say it like that.
Go to CW26chicago.com to vote, and we'll reveal the winners in an upcoming episode. That's good. I got
I'm
to
in
talk
at
about
40.
Shirley Chisholm. All right, Felicia, I wanted to follow up on Shirley Chisholm, right? Because I am in love with everything that she's done. So she was a congresswoman from New York, like from the Bronx. And she got put on the agriculture committee as a freshman. And people are like, why was she put on there? It's a committee that a lot of people don't care about. She was essentially being punished, put on the agriculture committee. And she said, okay, well, guess what? We have a major problem where I live and in a lot of cities where there's not food. We have starving children. I mean, especially the late 60s, early 70s, poverty was even worse than it was today. So she teamed up with other people on the agriculture committee to make sure that food didn't go to waste in the Midwest and brought it to the inner cities to do that. She ran for president against George Wallace, a noted segregationist who was shot in the middle of the campaign. She visited him in the hospital, even though it hurt him and her politically. He remembered that. And even though they disagreed on almost everything, he helped her out later on in her career with busing issues. A legend.
I want to point out,
just continued to
people
make
don't-
these
wait,
boss
so
moves.
People don't think that I am ignoring John Hanson. He put all of this in our chat before he actually said it, and then he continued on and on and on. And
I had to let the people know.
Slightly, like this.
John being John. This is okay.
John.
One time that we'll allow it though. So her campaign slogan was unbought and unbossed. Like, even that, like she was just a Renaissance woman before her time. We honor her today and every day. Absolutely amazing. Happy Black History Month.
Have a great day. We'll be back with more of history's facts tomorrow.